A very good evening. You're watching the News Hour special edition with me, Kristsween Walia. Viewers, an entire city seems to be sinking. The gateway to Badrinath, the gateway to the Valley of Flowers is sinking. Yes, we're talking about the key destination in Char Dham circuit, Joshimath. The holy land established by Adi Guru Shankaracharya in the 8th century, which is today facing a major challenge. Cracks have developed in more than 500 houses as a result of continued land subsidence. Over 60 families have been evacuated to safety in Joshimath. So some of the residents also now say that this is a part of the problem as far as the NTPC project is concerned in the area. That's one big problem. They say the warnings about construction activities in the Himalayan town fell on deaf ears all throughout. Today, the Uttarakhand Chief Secretary briefed the PMO and apprised it of the ongoing rescue and rehabilitation work. Multiple agencies have been roped in to assist the state government to prepare short, medium and long-term plans. 1 NDRF and 4 teams of SDRF have already reached Joshimath. In fact, border management officials will also be paying a visit to the affected town tomorrow. Apart from this, a team of experts from NDMA and other relevant agencies are also being consulted to chalk out a strategy in the eye of this big crisis. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Dhami has also ordered immediate evacuation of at least 600 families whose homes have developed huge cracks. Here's what he said, followed by a ground check by Times Now.
उस सब पर माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने बहुत विस्तार से चर्चा की है और उन्होंने जोशीमठ को बचाने के लिए हर संभव प्रयास जो भी होगा हर संभव उन्होंने आश्वासन भी दिया है, विश्वास दिया है कि हर संभव वहां पर काम होगा उस शहर को बचाने के लिए और लोगों के लिए हर संभव सहायता का उन्होंने आश्वासन दिया है कि आप डिटेल उसका आकलन कर लीजिए, उसके बाद जो है उस पर कार्रवाई करेंगे।
Panic, fear and anxiety grips the residents of Joshimath as land subsidence continues and it seems Joshimath is sinking. Now the houses over here have developed huge cracks and any moment these houses can collapse. Right now we are reporting from Ravigram area of Joshimath and look at these scenes behind me. These are very scary scenes over here, that how exactly the upper part of this house is being completely dislocated from the lower area, and this has happened within a span of few days. Now people are forced to live in such dangerous area, given the fact they say that they do not have any other option to go over there. Now right now I am in a house which is completely tilting towards one side, and while I'm standing over here I can feel that how it's tilting towards one side, and I'll show you with these visuals that how exactly the situation is over here for the people of Joshimath. Now if I close this particular door over here, you can see a gap of few inches over here. This is because you see that this particular wooden block is tilting towards one side because there are huge cracks that have developed in this particular house. Now if we'll go inside and we'll see that what exactly is the situation, you can see on the ground that how these huge cracks have been developed over here, and the people over here who are living, they're saying that they have again and again they made sure this house goes for construction, under construction. They have again and again put cement over this, but on regular basis these cracks are coming up.
Well, the residents started evacuations a few days ago as structures and concrete in the town are rapidly reporting incidents of cracks and subsidence. And as the government swung into action, politics over the issue peaks, with the opposition hitting out at the BJP government, terming the crisis as man-made.
पुरानी वजह तो यह है कि ये खुद ही लैंडस्लाइड में बसा हुआ है, लेकिन उसके अलावा नीचे नदी का इरोजन है, गंगा जी अलकनंदा के रूप में उधर मंदाकिनी भी रोड करती है, फिर यहाँ बहुत मेजर कंस्ट्रक्शन जेपी का कंस्ट्रक्शन है, उसके बाद एनटीपीसी का जो कंस्ट्रक्शन हुआ है, जो टनल बनी है, तो उससे ये जो पहले से ही कमजोर फॉर्मेशन थी वो हिल गई।
उन कच्चे पहाड़ों के नीचे से पूरी सुरंग खोद दी गई है। जोशीमठ के नीचे से पूरी सुरंग है जो हेलंगे पर जाके खुलती है। उसी सुरंग के ऊपर तो पहाड़ी है जिस पर जोशीमठ है, लेकिन मूल जो आधार बना है वो मैं शुरू से कह रही हूँ। मैंने एफिडेविट दिया इसी बात का जब मैं मंत्री थी कि उत्तराखंड में गंगा और उसकी सहायक नदियों पर पावर प्रोजेक्ट मत लगाइए। तो ये लो हैंगिंग फ्रूट एक शब्द प्रयोग करने लगे हैं आजकल पॉलिसी मेकर्स कि जो जल्दी हो सके वो करो।
Were several warnings ignored? What are the causes, possible management and reasons behind the sinking crisis? Let's open this up. Our guest joining us this evening, we have Munna Singh Chauhan, MLA and spokesperson BJP Uttarakhand. Also with us is Manoj Rawat, ex-MLA of Congress from Uttarakhand itself, Professor C.S. Dubey, geoscientist, and Dr. Anil Gupta, Professor and Head, National Institute of Disaster Management, joining us live. Also with us is Atul Sati, convener, Joshimath Bachao Sangharsh Samiti from Uttarakhand. I want to begin by asking Mr. Sati this. Sati साहब, पहले तो हमें बताइए कि लोगों पे क्या बीत रही है वहाँ. हमें बताया जा रहा है कि 60 फैमिलीज को ऑलरेडी इवैक्यूएट करके दूसरी जगह पे ले जा चुके हैं. 500 घर ऐसे हैं जिसमें ऐसे क्रैक्स दिख रहे हैं, खुले में दिख रहे हैं साफ साफ. वो तस्वीरें हम अपने रिपोर्टर के थ्रू भी दिखा रहे हैं, दर्शकों तक पहुंचा रहे हैं. तो हमें तो पहले स्थिति के बारे में फटाफट जानकारी दे दीजिए.
आप ये जानना चाह रहे हैं कि क्या जमीन पे क्या चल रहा है?
जी, जमीन पे क्या चल रहा है. और आप और आपके जैसे बहुत सारी ऐसे लोग हैं जो काफी टाइम से ये बताने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि कंस्ट्रक्शन बंद कर देना चाहिए, कि वार्निंग पे वार्निंग दी जा रही है पर कोई सुनने वाला नहीं है. तो हमें पूरी जर्नी के बारे में बताइए और वहां लोगों पे क्या बीत रही है ये बताइए.
जर्नी बहुत लंबी हो गई. हमने यहां अपने सामने जयप्रकाश कंपनी का परियोजना बनते हुए देखा था, विष्णु प्रयाग परियोजना. उस समय जो है उस परियोजना को बनाने के लिए एक लंबी सुरंग 12 किलोमीटर सुरंग बनाई गई जोशीमठ के ठीक सामने. और उस सुरंग को बनाते समय जबरदस्त विस्फोट किए गए सुरंग बनाते समय, और पूरा जोशीमठ उससे हिला. और हमारे को उसका अनुभव था. इसलिए हमने जब यहां एनटीपीसी के परियोजना की प्रस्तावना हुई कि यहां बनने वाला है प्रोजेक्ट, तो तभी हम लोगों ने अपनी आशंकाएं राष्ट्रपति महोदय को, उस समय के जो राष्ट्रपति थे अबुल कलाम साहब, उनको भेजी और कहा कि अगर ऐसा हुआ तो जोशीमठ समाप्त हो जाएगा, इसके अस्तित्व को खतरा होगा. सामने हम देख चुके हैं जेपी कंपनी में चाय गांव खत्म हो गया, उसका दूध का व्यवसाय था वो खत्म हो गया, उनकी जमीन खत्म हो गई. तो लिहाजा आप जो है इस परियोजना को बनने से रोकें. ये जोशीमठ के लिए खतरनाक है, क्योंकि हमारे पास न सिर्फ ये अनुभव था, हमारे पास 1976 की मिश्रा कमेटी की रिपोर्ट थी. उसके आधार पर हम इस परियोजना का विरोध कर रहे थे और हम लगातार विरोध करते रहे. और 2005 में जब इस परियोजना की पहली जन सुनवाई हुई, उस जन सुनवाई में भी हम लोगों ने विरोध प्रकट किया. और हमने उसी दिन उनसे पूछा कि भैया आप जो है इतनी बड़ी परियोजना बना रहे हैं. पहला सवाल है, आप देखिएगा इनके जो जन सुनवाई की मिनट्स हैं उसमें लिखा हुआ है कि मैंने ये सवाल पूछा, अतुल सती ने पूछा कि आपके पास क्या फ्लो ऑफ द वाटर, पानी का कितना बहाव है, क्या इसका कोई आंकड़ा है? इन्होंने कहा कि नहीं है. मैंने कहा कि क्या आपके पास 50 साल 100 साल के बारिश का आंकड़ा है? इन्होंने कहा कि नहीं है. तब मैंने कहा कि आप ये ताश का महल क्यों खड़ा कर रहे हैं जब आपके पास कोई आंकड़ा नहीं है? पानी कितना है? जब इतना सारा ग्लेशियर रिसीड हो रहा है, लगातार नदी में पानी कम हो रहा है, तो आप इतनी बड़ी परियोजना बना रहे हैं, क्या गारंटी है चलेगा? तो आप पहले आंकड़ा तो जुटाइए. आप जन सुनवाई कर रहे हैं, आपने पिछले 2 साल मेहनत करके जो है इसका सर्वे कर दिया, और आपके पास ये आंकड़ा नहीं है, आप कैसे काम कर रहे हैं? और उसके बाद हमने उस जन सुनवाई का विरोध किया. उसके बाद जो है इस परियोजना का विरोध हुआ. विरोध इतना ज्यादा हुआ कि तब के मुख्यमंत्री नारायण दत्त तिवारी जी उस परियोजना का शिलान्यास करने के लिए देहरादून से जोशीमठ नहीं आ पाए. तमाम तैयारियों के बावजूद 16 लाख रुपया खर्च किया एनटीपीसी ने उद्घाटन के लिए, लेकिन जो है वो परियोजना का उद्घाटन यहां नहीं हो पाया.
And we've seen no stop to such construction activities. हमने देखा है कि साल दर साल ऐसे कंस्ट्रक्शन एक्टिविटीज कैरी आउट करे गए हैं. मुन्ना सिंह चौहान जी, what is the government doing about it, and why is the government so late in acting or rather banning any sort of construction activities in the region? ऐसे बहुत सारे warnings, several warnings by scientists, by geologists have come in year after year, and they have fallen on deaf ears today, because the situation on ground reveals that there was a Mishra committee formed by the government that indicated and hinted at the fact that this is a fragile region, this is fragile land, and we all know, if we get into the geography of Joshimath as an area, what it amounts to, and yet nothing was done about it. Construction pe construction chalti rahi, sir.
Look, so far as today's immediate development is concerned, the state government responded very quickly, and the entire administration led by the Chief Minister himself sprang into action immediately. But it is a much larger issue which you have pointed out, and the experts and Satiji ne bhi tamam sari cheezein here mentioned about. This is very true that Joshimath, as per the reports of the expert, is situated on moraine, which is a kind of a debris collected after the recession of the glaciers. So very unstable kind of a, otherwise entire Himalaya is a very fragile and sensitive zone. Therefore this has always been a cause of concern to many people, cutting across the party lines among the experts and all that, heavy construction should not be allowed in the higher Himalayas. So far as the fine technical details are concerned, like the expert committee which had visited Joshimath 2 days back, they have come out and
But sir, despite these warnings, Mr. Chauhan, why was nothing done about it? The NTPC project was out in the open, construction was on in full swing. We're also being told that another tunnel to shorten the distance to Badrinath and Oli is being constructed, and we can see how, you know, the bypass that's being constructed is chipping at the toe of Joshimath. Why has nothing been done about these developments?
I'm answering your question. BC Misra committee report was given in 1976-78. That way it goes back to 46 years, and obviously the report submitted by a BC Misra committee should have been taken care of, and the construction strategy accordingly must have been adopted. But that was not done. This is very unfortunate part, but no single government is to be blamed for this. This is a kind of attitude of neglect. We should have been very sensitive about our entire situation. Otherwise, this situation would not have come about.
Okay,
but
great.
At the same time,
so there is a sense of acknowledgement that whatever warnings were sent out by scientists, by geologists, that was not taken seriously and perhaps could have amounted to what Joshimath residents are facing today. But sir, Mr. Chauhan, I also want to understand from you the BJP strategy now. Apart from evacuation and rehabilitation, what is the plan in place?
It is not a political issue entirely. See, the BJP government in the state is working on 2-3 strategies simultaneously. One is evacuation, moving the endangered families, endangered houses, vacating them and moving them to a safer place is the first need of the hour. Secondly, there has to be a long-term plan also, and the government is working very fast on that. What can be the long-term plan? How to rehabilitate them, how to relocate them. And the third one is, when we talk of the rehabilitation and relocation of the family, then let us remember that their entire livelihood has to be taken care of. And when we talk about the livelihood, then it is an entire ecosystem. We can't move the fields, we can't move the kheti badi, we can't move the pasupalan. So, rehabilitation and relocation is a very long drawn sort of a plan, which will obviously take time. But yes, the emergent situation that has arisen today, the immediate need is to move the family, those who are living in endangered areas, to a safer places, and the government is providing them all necessary facility. Chief Minister
and that's exactly what brings me back to the point that I started with. Could all this have not been avoided if government after government, successive governments, really took ownership of what is it that this land demands from the people, from the cooperatives, from the industrialists, from the tourism sector? Could all of this not have been avoided? I want to go across to Professor C.S. Dubey as well. Professor, this is extremely worrisome because imagine a town atop this hill caves in altogether. It starts sinking. It's a very dangerous situation ahead of everyone today, especially the residents of Joshimath.
Look, especially when I say when we see this, it is not only the Joshimath, I call the whole Himalaya, where you have heavy town planning, heavy urban system has been developed, and the concrete buildings which have been made. The previous editions of wooden houses and was only for that. If something like that happens, people could be saved from that. And the actual, what it happens, it doesn't happen
when the accident happens, it doesn't happen with the landslide because it's very slow, but it happens with when the building comes down, and it comes down and people inside that are injured. So the planning as such for these towns, especially Joshimath, where you know that it is on a landslide debris, it's on a debris, glacier debris, it's on landslide, it's near the main central thrust, which is a very active tectonic thrust. You know everything about that. So why you are building houses over there? The question is, nobody has stopped. And you know, it's taking place like anything. You know, I saw the houses in 2004-5, there were a lot of wooden houses. Now you see the structure is growing, buildings are coming up, buildings after buildings.
Yes.
Nobody is stopping those. I think there need to be in all these, why in Joshimath, all these Himalayan areas which are fragile should be looked into again, and this disaster management, I don't know, and National Disaster Management Association is looking after this or not. There should be a micro seismic zonation, a very micro level. Not it is. Yes. It doesn't happen in Delhi also. A very close level, you know, the landslide hazard zonation. We have done something on that, but not on a very close, you know, point. It with the large scales it has been done, but not on a small scale like 1:100 scale. I think these things are very important here, because now the time is coming up with the advancement of the AI and ML machine learning, and as well as the piezometric, you know, the advanced instruments which have come up. We can always know that how much the land is subsiding or how much the land is going down. And we know the places where they are going down. I think there need to be a big study. Actually, the problem is that the engineers, you know, which they are, as you rightly said, they make short tunnels, you know. They don't see what are the rock types, what is the, you know, slope of the rocks, what is the lithology of the rocks. They don't see on that. The engineer just puts his small line and says that this is the shortest and we could make tunnel because it will make faster things.
Okay.
And they grout it, they don't worry about what is happening on the upside or the lower side. This is a very serious issue, not only in this, the whole Himalayas I am saying. And Joshimath is just it started, you know, it's a point where it has been started picking. Earlier it happened in 1997 in Sikkim, Gangtok, where huge landslide was there and 60 people died over there. So these are the things where we have to take care, especially when we see town planning.
Okay, all right. Dr. Gupta, you know, many, at least the residents in Joshimath, are of the opinion that it is the NTPC project partly that has to be blamed for Joshimath having woken up to this nightmare today. In your view, what really went wrong? Because, you know, we have to begin by at least admitting to what's happened. There's no official version or acknowledgement that confirms on the government's part that yes, that could have been a big factor. Now lies ahead of us the biggest challenge to evacuate and rehabilitate. But thereafter also comes the planning in the future. Once these people need to go back to their homes, how is the town planning going to take place? There are several issues on the management level that need to be looked upon.
I think this is a very important point. One is that the current rehabilitation and the relief measures that are on by the government is very important, and the government at the local level and the all disaster management system has geared up to take this the control of the situation in a effective manner. But your point that how do we plan for the future, that is very important. And here I would also stress upon that we need to have a very clear mapping of all those sites which have the future challenges or the future risks, like this Joshimath area, because this is one example, and which has a history. So there are places which has such kind of the history of such kind of challenges or such kind of risks, but there may be certain sites where the history is not known because there has not been much population that time. So there may be the locations where the new challenges arise. So in Hindu Kush Himalaya, and particularly the Indian Himalaya part, and more particularly in the regions like Uttarakhand, we need to do the mapping of such kind of risky areas. And then I would say that there are three major aspects that will come into consideration.
That's the biggest takeaway here. These non-stop warnings, repeated warnings, one after the other, first started in 1976, till as recent as September 2022, have been coming in from scientists, from experts who've been monitoring the situation in this region, in this belt of Himalayas very, very closely. And none of that has had an impact on any of the governments, on the administration on ground. The government-appointed Mishra Commission's report highlighted an important fact. Joshimath is situated on the site of an ancient landslide. Yet, none of this was taken into consideration, kept into consideration. Mr. Manoj Rawat, today, despite the Congress also having been in power in Uttarakhand from 2012 to 17, is taking on the BJP. On what grounds, sir? रावत साहब, आप म्यूट पे है शायद।
ये 5 साल का और 10 साल का सवाल नहीं है। जहां तक स्टडीज का सवाल है, ये तो 36 में हेमन सेसर 2 जियो साइंटिस्ट आए और उन्होंने उस समय से कहना शुरू कर दिया था कि ये फ्रेजाइल लैंड है और सेंट्रल थ्रस्ट है, जाता है, ये सब चीज है। लेकिन अब बात ये है कि जब ये आपदा आ गई, विपत्ता आ गई है हम पर, सब बहुत बड़ी आफत आ गई है, और भाई हमारे सती साहब जी 1.5 साल से कह रहे हैं कि क्रैक शुरू हो गया है और इस शहर को खतरा है। तो ये सबसे बड़ा इशू है कि हमने समय रहते हुए, जब क्रैक्स शुरू हो रहे थे, डेवलप हो रहे थे, अभी 82 में शुरू हो गए। अभी मुझे वीडियो आए हैं कि ऋषिकेश से कुछ किलोमीटर दूर 82 में जहाँ पे टनल बन रहा है।
ये तो सबको पता ना था सर कि ये एक्सट्रीमली प्रोन है आफ्टर शॉक्स को, अर्थक्वेक्स को। ये तो ना कांग्रेस से छुपी थी बात, ना बीजेपी से छुपी थी बात। तो कांग्रेस बीजेपी की आज इस मुद्दे को लेके बात ना की जाए तो ज्यादा बेहतर रहेगा। दी अर्जेंसी एट दिस पॉइंट इन टाइम इज टू इवैक्यूएट एज मेनी पीपल, rehabilitate them and make sure that the worst can be avoided at this point in time, because this is going to be of grave consequence. Imagine the entire city starts to sink in, and that's what appears to be the case at this point in time. Gentlemen, I'm running out of time. I need to head into a very quick break. Thank you so much for speaking to us on the News Hour Special Edition this evening.